Okay, we're talking about the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The Constitution has been amended 27 times since it was ratified in 1788. These first 10 amendments are referred to as the Bill of Rights. These amendments give rights to the people and to the states, and they limit the power of the federal government. This focus on the people and the states' rights can be seen right in the very first part of the preamble to the Constitution. It says, "We the people." The people are the important part. The whole thing says, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." So it's their structure, but we talked about this in week 1, module 2, right? The whole idea of personal rights and personal freedoms can be seen even earlier in the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have every right, every single one of us, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The First through Third Amendments all deal with personal rights. Later, then they'd start dealing with the rights when you get involved with the court of law, and then states' rights. But right now, we're going to talk about the personal rights. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Oh yeah, what does that mean? Freedom of religion means government cannot set up an established or official church or religion for the nation. It cannot forbid the practice of religion, nor can it promote or force the practice of religion. Government may not abridge or limit the freedom to speak or write freely. It may not censor or review books and newspapers before they are printed. They can't tell you what you can say in the newspaper. But you can't lie, right? Because that's a whole different thing. It's called libel. And if when you're speaking you lie, that's called slander, if you say things about people that are not true. So you can't lie, but they can't tell you what you can say. This amendment also protects the right to assemble or hold public meetings or have a protest, right? It also gives you the right to petition to redress grievances, right? Petition means to ask. Redress is to correct, and a grievance is something you see as wrong. So the people have the right to ask the government to fix something if they see that it's wrong in the way that it's being handled in government. The Second Amendment says each state has the right to maintain a militia, an armed force, for its own protection. Today, the National Guard. The national government and the states can and do regulate the private possession and use of firearms. This is what they thought it was going to look like. This is how it's turning up to look. And every year they say, oh, we're going to change this. And the Third Amendment. In colonial times, the British could quarter or house soldiers in private homes without permission of the owners. The Third Amendment says, nope, you can't do that. Your soldiers aren't going to sleep here, and we're not going to feed them. So the Fourth through Eighth Amendments are all about the court system and what happens if you get into trouble and what can the cops do, what can you do. So the Fourth Amendment protects Americans from unreasonable searches and seizures. Seizure is to take something, if the cops take something from you, or the courts. Search and seizures are permitted only if a judge has issued a warrant or a written court order. A warrant is issued only if there's probable cause. Probable cause. This means an officer must show that it's probable or likely that the search will produce evidence of a crime. So they can't just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go into that guy's house and I bet there's drugs. Not unless they know, they have some reason to believe that there's something in there. The latest hotspot is your phone and your computer. Can they search what's in your computer? Can they search what's in your phone? That's a lot of argument right now. The Fifth Amendment protects the rights of the accused. So if they say that you did something and they want to put you in jail. Capital crimes, let's talk about capital crimes. Capital crimes are those that can be punished with death. Infamous crimes are those that can be punished with prison or loss of rights. The federal government must obtain an indictment or an accusation from a grand jury to prosecute anyone for such crimes. A grand jury is a panel of between 12 and 23 citizens who decide if the government has enough evidence to justify a trial. So before they can put you to trial, they have to decide that there's enough evidence that you maybe did this bad thing that they're saying you did. Let's see here. Double jeopardy is forbidden by this amendment. And that means that if they try you for something once, they can't try you for the same thing again. You can't have a trial for the same thing twice. But if the court sets aside a conviction because of an error, then you can be tried again. A person on trial cannot be forced to testify or give evidence against themselves. A person accused of a crime is entitled to due process of law or a fair hearing and a trial. Finally, the government cannot seize personal property for public use without paying the owner a fair price for it. Like they can't take your land to make a road without paying you for it. The Sixth Amendment. In criminal cases, the jury must be impartial or not favor either side. The accused is guaranteed the right to trial by a jury. The trial must be speedy, and if the government purposely postpones the trial so it becomes hard for the person to get a fair hearing, the charge may be dismissed. The accused must be told the charges and be allowed to question the witnesses, right? He's got to be able to say, hey, why are you saying I did that? Witnesses who can help the accused can be ordered to appear in court. The accused must be allowed an attorney. So you are always allowed an attorney. The Seventh Amendment. Common law. Suits at common law. Common law refers to rules or law established by judges in past cases. This amendment guarantees the right to a jury trial in lawsuits where the sum of money is more than $20. An appeals court can set aside a verdict only if legal errors are made. And then they say the trial was unfair because there were errors by the lawyers or by the police or whatever. Otherwise, whatever the jury says goes if there were no errors made. The Eighth Amendment says excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. Bail is the money that the accused leaves with the court as a pledge that says that they will return for trial. It lets you out of jail, you give them some money, and then when you come back for your trial, you get your money back. If the accused doesn't appear, the court keeps the money. This amendment prevents the court from imposing bail or fines that are excessive or way too high. The amendment also forbids cruel and unusual punishments, such as physical torture. Ugh. And then we have the Ninth and 10th Amendments, which are about the powers that aren't mentioned in the Constitution, the powers that are given to the states and to the people. The Ninth Amendment says the rights of the people are not limited to those listed in the Bill of Rights. In the Ninth Amendment, the government is prevented from claiming that these are the only rights that you have. It's saying that, no, you have other rights that aren't listed. They're not enumerated. And the last amendment under the Bill of Rights is the 10th Amendment. That powers not given to the federal government belong to the states. Powers reserved to the states are not listed in the Constitution. So pretty much anything that's not in the federal Constitution becomes the right of the state to decide what happens. Make sense?